The strangest part about taking my roommate to urgent care wasn't what the doctor found. It was what I found on the paperwork. 1 sentence. 6 words. And for almost a year, I thought those words were about me. I was wrong. My name is Noah. I'm 27, and at the time, I was living in Denver with my roommate, Claire. We weren't dating. We weren't secretly together. We weren't even the kind of roommates who spent every night hanging out. We were just 2 people who had somehow become really important to each other. I met Claire through my friend Marcus. Marcus and I had known each other since college. When I needed a roommate, he said his coworker was looking for a place. That coworker was Claire. The first time I met her, she walked into the apartment carrying 3 grocery bags and immediately dropped one. An orange rolled across the floor. She looked at me. Then at the orange. Then back at me. Pretend you didn't see that. I laughed. Too late. She pointed at me. Then you're responsible for picking it up. That was Claire. She was funny without trying. Quiet when she was upset. And terrible at admitting when something bothered her. Within a few months, we had routines. I made coffee in the morning. She always forgot to turn off the kitchen light. I complained. She ignored me. She'd leave little notes on the fridge. Buy milk. Don't eat my leftovers. Seriously, Noah. Sometimes I'd come home exhausted and find dinner sitting in the fridge. No note. No explanation. She just knew. And I started doing the same for her. Neither of us talked about it. That's how our friendship worked. We cared quietly. Until one Thursday night. Claire came home late. Really late. It was almost midnight when I heard her keys hit the floor. I walked out of my room. She was standing in the hallway. One hand against the wall. Her face looked completely drained. Claire? I'm fine. She took one step. Then nearly fell. I caught her. Okay. You're definitely not fine. She tried to laugh. I'm just tired. You're shaking. I haven't eaten. When did you last eat? She thought about it. Yesterday. I stared at her. Urgent care. No. Claire. Noah, I'm okay. Then she looked at me. And for the first time since I'd known her, she looked genuinely scared. I don't want to go alone. That changed everything. 20 minutes later, we were sitting in a nearly empty urgent care waiting room. She kept apologizing. You should be sleeping. I'll sleep later. You have work tomorrow. So do you. I know. She smiled. You're annoying. Yeah. She leaned her head against the wall. Thanks for coming. I looked at her. Of course. A nurse eventually called her back. I followed. The nurse handed Claire a clipboard. Fill out what you can. We'll take the rest from you. Claire started writing. I sat beside her. Then the nurse noticed Claire struggling to focus. Do you need help? No. She looked at me. Can he finish it? The nurse handed me the clipboard. Sure. I started filling out the easy stuff. Name. Address. Emergency contact. Then I reached the section labeled Relationship to Patient. I almost checked roommate. But there was another page underneath. It had already been filled out. I wasn't trying to read it. I swear. But one sentence was written in Claire's handwriting. And I saw it. The person I trust most is the person I can't tell the truth to. I stopped breathing for a second. I looked at Claire. She was answering questions from the nurse. She hadn't noticed. I looked back at the page. There was no name. No explanation. Just that sentence. And suddenly, my mind started racing. Was she talking about me? Who else would she trust that much? I put the clipboard down. I didn't ask. But from that moment on, everything felt different. On the drive home, Claire barely spoke. Finally, she said, You're quiet. I'm tired. She looked at me. You're lying. I almost told her. Instead, I said, You scared me tonight. Her expression softened. I'm sorry. Don't do that again. She smiled. I'll try. Then she looked out the window. There's something I need to tell you. My hands tightened around the steering wheel. What? Not tonight. And that was the beginning. Because after that night, Claire started acting differently. She'd stop talking whenever I entered a room. She'd leave the apartment unexpectedly. She started receiving calls late at night. Whenever I asked who it was, she'd say, Just someone I know. Someone. Not a name. Not a friend. Someone. I convinced myself she was hiding a relationship. And honestly, that shouldn't have bothered me. But it did. More than I wanted to admit. One Friday, I came home early. Claire wasn't there. Her bedroom door was open. I wasn't looking for anything. But I noticed an envelope on her desk. My name was written on it. I froze. I picked it up. Then put it back. I shouldn't have opened it. I didn't. But when Claire came home an hour later, she saw me standing outside her room. Her face changed. "You saw that?" "Yeah." She went completely quiet. "What's in it?" "Something I need to give you." "When?" "When I'm ready." "Claire," I said, "when I'm ready." She walked past me. That night, we didn't speak. The next morning, she was gone before I woke up. And that's when I started wondering if I had completely misunderstood the situation. Because maybe the note at urgent care wasn't about me. Maybe it was about someone else. Someone she was afraid to tell me about. A week later, Claire asked me to drive her somewhere. She wouldn't tell me where. We ended up outside a small apartment building across town. She stared at the building through the windshield. "Wait here." "Claire, what's going on?" "Please." She got out. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Then the front door opened. An older man walked out. Claire hugged him. I watched from the car. Something about the way she looked at him made my stomach drop. She wasn't scared. She looked relieved. Then she walked back to the car. I couldn't hold it in anymore. "Who is he?" Claire stared at me. "My father." I blinked. "What?" "My father." She looked down. "He left when I was 14. I didn't know what to say. "He's sick," she continued. "And I found him again a few months ago." Suddenly, everything made sense. The late-night calls. The disappearing. The secrecy. The exhaustion. But one thing didn't. The note. She looked at me. "What note?" "The one at urgent care." Her face went completely still. I knew immediately. She had no idea I'd seen it. "What did it say?" I told her. She looked out the window. Then she started crying. Not loudly. Just quietly. "I wasn't talking about you." I swallowed. I figured. "Noah." She looked at me. "I was talking about my dad." That hurt in a strange way. Not because I wanted it to be about me. But because I'd spent weeks creating an entire story in my head. She continued. "I wanted to tell you." "Why didn't you?" "Because I was ashamed." "Of what?" "That I wanted him to come back." She wiped her eyes. I kept telling myself I didn't care. Then she laughed sadly. "But I did." We sat in silence. Then she said something I'll never forget. "You were the only person I wanted to tell." I looked at her. "Then why didn't you?" "Because you were the person I trusted most." She paused. "And that's what scared me." I didn't understand. She continued. "I knew if I told you, you'd try to fix it. And I didn't need fixing." She looked at me. "I just needed someone to sit beside me while I figured out what I wanted." I nodded. "I'm sorry." She smiled. "You didn't do anything." Then she handed me the envelope. The one from her desk. My hands were shaking when I opened it. Inside was a photograph. Claire at about 14. Standing beside her father. And on the back, she had written, "Noah, if I ever tell you this story, it's because I finally learned that people can hurt you and still be people you love." I looked at her. She whispered. I didn't know how to say that. I folded the photograph carefully. Then I asked, "Is he going to be okay?" She shook her head. "I don't know." That was the honest answer. And somehow, it was the hardest one. A few weeks later, Claire moved out. Not because we fought. Not because anything happened between us. She moved closer to her father. She wanted to help him. On her last night in the apartment, we sat on the kitchen floor surrounded by half-packed boxes. She smiled. "You're going to miss me." "Definitely not." "Liar." "Probably." She laughed. Then she became quiet. "You know what I realized?" "What?" "I spent so much time being afraid you'd think differently of me." I looked at her. "I don't." "I know." She stood up. Then stopped at the door. "Oh, and Noah?" "Yeah? There's one thing you got wrong." "What?" She smiled. "You thought I was hiding something from you." I nodded. "I was." She paused. "I was hiding how much I trusted you." Then she left. 3 months later, I received a text from Claire. Just 2 words. "He passed." I stared at the message for a long time. I didn't know what to say. So I wrote, "I'm here." She replied, "I know." That was it. We didn't talk much after that. But every once in a while, she'd send me a picture. A coffee shop. A rainy street. A sunset. Small things. The kind of things she used to leave on the fridge. 1 year later, I was cleaning out an old drawer. I found a copy of the urgent care paperwork. I almost threw it away. Then I saw the sentence again. "The person I trust most is the person I can't tell the truth to." For a long time, I thought that sentence was about a secret she was keeping from me. But now I understand. The truth wasn't that she didn't trust me. The truth was that she trusted me so much that she was terrified I'd see how broken she felt. And maybe that's the thing I've carried with me ever since. Sometimes people don't hide their pain because they don't trust you. Sometimes they hide it because they trust you enough to know you'll see straight through them. I never became Claire's boyfriend. I never became the person she secretly wanted. I became something quieter. The person who drove her to urgent care. The person who waited. The person who stayed. And sometimes, when I think about that night, I realize the sentence on that clipboard wasn't a love confession at all. It was something much sadder. It was a girl admitting, without knowing anyone would read it, that the person she trusted most was the one person she was most afraid to disappoint. And I think that's why I still remember those 6 words. Because she wasn't afraid I'd leave, she was afraid I'd stay long enough to see the truth.